The car careens down the empty, winding road, typical of Thailand's countryside. Music blasts as it whips by. Bottles litter the trunk of the car as smoke seeps out of the window, curling into the black night. No licenses, no one sober, no common sense. Holiday music fills the room as she's embraced by the delightful aroma of pumpkin pie baking in the oven. The warm atmosphere of the dinner party works like magic, instantly liberating the stress of school from her shoulders. Nothing better than curling up in a fuzzy blanket, catching up with friends, and singing along to merry tunes a few weeks too early. Exams are coming up, but a little bit of fun won't hurt. The anxiety of math summatives, psychology essays, and English papers hover over him like a ghost. The final weeks of the semester are quickly approaching. It's now or never. It is a Friday night, but no different than any other weekday for him. He pulls his laptop out of his bag and begins to work. There is no time left to waste. A teenager's behavior is far more complex than black or white. One thing is for sure, no matter what we say, when we request permission to leave the house, we are always struck with the case of the hairy eyeball, a real-life mirror image of the classic Asian parent who asks too many questions meme. Certainly, there are countless numbers of diverse teenage personalities in this world. Perhaps it is most fitting to propose a continuum for teenage behavior. There's those who spend their Friday nights dancing and drinking the night away, recharging their batteries labeled teenage spirit. Others think it best to crunch out the last bits of a homework assignment for the reward of a 2-day holiday, and then there's me, struggling to find my rightful place on this continuum. However, it is a common misconception that the true teenage experience is synonymous with promiscuity. If doing schoolwork on a Friday night puts me in the nerd category, then I'll gladly wear that label. Now, before you call me a lifeless teenager lacking excitement and fun, or perhaps pity me for missing out on all the action and thrill of being a junior in high school, don't. I admit, I am not oozing of teenage spirit. I don't picture myself on a Friday night amongst a crowd of teenagers in an overpopulated space, my eardrums about to explode with another beat of music 2 levels louder than healthy. Hi, my name is Xuan Lu, and I like to call myself the average teenager. Some of you might look at me and agree. Others might say that I'm boring, not a risk taker, and that I lack the courage to take a chance. I mean, what's life without living on the edge, right? According to Carl Pickhardt, a psychologist and writer for Psychology Today, adolescent rebellion is the poster characteristic of the teenage years. Teenagers feel a need to assert their individuality as though like a rite of passage to the adult world. Becoming a teenager is like advancing in life, and the rush of the new causes a rebellion against the dull of the old. Amy Bobrow, a clinical psychologist and professor at the Child Studies Center of the New York University School of Medicine, says there are multiple reasons for the rebellious tendencies of teenagers ages 13 to 17, one of which is the developing prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, commonly known as the judgment center of the brain, is most active when children become teenagers. The brain is suddenly able to construct ideas from information as the adolescent are able to view the world more realistically. The mystery of a teenager's unsettled status in society results in a desire to become independent. This urge to change the status quo, to settle their position in society, results in defiance against rules. Suddenly, a teenager treats rules as one would treat an ant crawling across the lunch table, flicked away without a second thought. It is also during this time that teenagers are prone to making impulse decisions. Judgment is easily overthrown by a desire for adventure and thrill. And you might be surprised, but teenagers are not as unaware as the common misconception suggests. In fact, they more often than not find themselves making decisions knowing the consequences that follow. Valerie Reyna, a professor of human development at Cornell University, reflects on her review of scientific literature discussing why adolescents make bad decisions. Reyna found that risk-taking tendencies are not due to self-perceived invulnerability or the dismissal of consequences. Rather, teenagers place a greater importance on the peer acceptance and social gratification that follows. Alas, we meet again. Peer pressure. At this point, it seems like an easy excuse for our regretful decisions. Peer pressure never disappoints. A study funded by the National Institute of Drug Abuse studied teenagers who were tasked to play video games under two scenarios: alone and with a group of friends. Research showed that when teenagers were playing with a group of friends, they took more than double the number of risks as compared to when playing alone. This suggests that impulsive behaviors are harder to resist when external factors are present or in emotionally charged situations. No, I do not stand here today to rant about why I think teenage rebellion is an issue. In that case, I could easily be proven wrong. Experimentation and the independence gained from taking risks have in fact shown to have positive effects. Pushing boundaries may develop a sense of confidence and identity in oneself. Recent research actually indicates that rebellion is the sign of a healthy personality, yet this is not the reality for all of us. Bobro surveyed a sample of teenagers in New York to find that 50% have experimented with alcohol, 50% have not. 25% have used a drug at least once, 75% have not. 10% have used illegal substances. 90% have not. That is the reality. The problem is, though, that society's perception of the culture of teenage rebellion is distorted. Remember that peer pressure? Phrases like, stop living through a textbook, try living more, or even stop being the child your mom wants you to be, are commonly thrown at teenagers like me by my peers. I'm not saying I'm an angel child, nor that I have the moral high ground, but I am saying that it is unfair to make us feel as though our choices to refrain from the classic so-called teenage rebellion is a missed opportunity or something to be ashamed of. At the risk of using a tired teenage cliche, we nerds have lives too. My Friday nights don't consist of whipping down the countryside in the dark night, nor do they consist of wild high school parties. But look, if that's your truth, that's great. But it's not everyone's, and that's fair too. Thank you.